A ticket may be in your future if you park too long in the airport unloading zone. A local group wants to know why bugs are disappearing from the Animas River and learn about efforts to resurrect a pioneer cemetery from the dust. These stories and more on this edition of Inside Durango News. I'm Ashley Dixon.
You're watching Inside Durango News, your source for information about Southwest Colorado. Brought to you by Oxford Asset Management. Inspiring confidence, growing dreams. Oxford Asset Management.
After the tragic shootings at Columbine High School in 1999, many states, including Colorado, passed zero-tolerance laws that gave schools little latitude to address disciplinary problems. But zero-tolerance policies have had unintended consequences, says local school district officials. Mandatory suspensions and expulsions have led to higher dropout rates, and higher dropout rates have meant that more young people wind up in prison. A number of national studies indicates that students who are expelled from school are 63 times more likely to wind up in prison. 68% of all prisoners are high school dropouts, and suspensions and expulsion nationwide disproportionately impact students of color. In Durango School District 9R, administrators and teachers have significantly reduced the suspension and expulsion rates among students by offering more educational options and developing closer relationships with individual students. During the last 10 years, the number of students suspended or expelled from the district has dropped by more than 67%. According to the Department of Education, District 9R expelled or suspended 597 students who were involved in more than 1,000 disciplinary incidents during the 2002-2003 school year. In comparison, only 197 students involved in over 500 incidents were expelled or suspended last year. Mike Freeburn, assistant principal at Durango High School, attributes the decline in suspensions and expulsions to a deliberate effort by administrators to develop closer relationships with students, especially students who are at risk for behavior problems.
To begin with, the three assistant principals, Cito Noon, Joe Pecorino, and I, beginning last year in the fall, we decided to really concentrate our efforts on developing relationships with students and being out in the school, outside of the school, in the perimeter of the school, within the school, and be there as often as possible. And so we've done that, and as a result, we've really worked on developing relationships with some of our more disenfranchised students who were the ones who tend to get in trouble more. As a result of that, we've developed lots of positive relationships with those students, and those students are tending not to bring behaviors to the school that will get them suspended as much. It still happens some, but we've reduced it in that regard.
Freeburn said the high school's new small learning community model has also had an impact on student behavior. In learning communities, students are grouped by academic interests and learning styles into mini schools within the high school. Each learning community is assigned an assistant principal, and student schedules are similar, so they have more opportunities to develop friendships and learning relationships with their peers.
One is our SLC, or Small Learning Community Structure. So we have 3 SLCs for 9th and 10th grade, where, for example, I work with the Da Vinci SLC. And so under 200 students in each of those SLCs. And we each spend quite a bit of time within those SLCs with students, with teachers, in classrooms, and again, working on developing relationships and providing some structure for those students so that they really get to know a group of teachers, a part of the building, their administrator, their counselor better. And so that's helped as well.
Freeburn says the district has focused on developing as many educational options for students as it can. One student who had discipline problems told Freeburn that she didn't like school and planned to drop out. He convinced her to enroll in the Southwest Colorado eSchool, an internet-based option, and she blossomed. Other district options included the Phoenix program, where middle school and high school students are placed in a highly structured classroom with one teacher to help them get back on track with their academics. The Big Picture High School offers practical learning experiences in the workplace with internships. Gateway to College is a partnership program with Southwest Colorado Community College that works with 17 to 20-year-old students who have dropped out or at risk of dropping out. Students attend classes at Southwest Colorado Community College to finish their high school diplomas while simultaneously earning college credit.
And so really it's about finding what works for today's students. And so I think that 9R has really worked hard to look for a multitude of ways to meet the needs of students, and we're doing that. And more and more successfully all the time. And as a result of meeting students' needs, we're seeing things like our suspension and our expulsion rates decline as we're able to meet student needs.
If you'd like to know more about the options available for students who are at risk for disciplinary action, visit the high school's website at dhs.durangoschools.org. They are police officers, rescue workers, and community volunteers who go beyond the expected to provide aid to their neighbors in need. They are the hometown heroes that the Southwest Colorado chapter of the American Red Cross honors each year at its Breakfast of Champions. The Red Cross honored 5 hometown heroes at the annual awards ceremony on April 15th. La Plata County Sheriff's Deputy Luke Harrington was honored for saving his father's life by administering CPR. Jim Harrington suffered head and chest wounds after his horse fell on him in a riding accident. Bayfield resident Scott Key saved the life of an Ignacio woman who was in a car accident last May at Three Springs Boulevard. The car burst into flames after it hit a light pole, and Key was able to remove the driver from the car to safety. 3 Southern Ute Indian Tribe Detention Center officers were honored for saving an inmate's life. The inmate had tied a ligature around his neck, and officers removed the noose within 5 seconds of observing the incident on surveillance cameras. The officers are Brian Weiss, Dominic Vasquez, and Alfred Hanna. New Red Cross Executive Director Colleen Johnson said the annual breakfast emphasizes that citizens have a responsibility to get involved when their neighbors need help. For more information about the local Red Cross chapter, call 259-5383. Up next, why local fishermen are counting bugs in the Animas River.
Meet Dan and his dog Bongo. They started their own dog biscuit company, but Dan wanted more. So Dan worked with Fast Signs. They created a plan to attract more customers, get more business, wag more tails. Still, Dan wanted more, and Fast Signs provided more. Fast Signs help with digital displays, mobile marketing, merchandising, fleet graphics, and more. Now Dan has more sales, more locations, more of the good life. And more is exactly what Fast Signs delivers. More than fast, more than signs, more than 530 locations worldwide.
It's time for rejuvenation with luxurious healing waters, breathtaking views, and lavish spa treatments at the Springs Resort and Spa in Pagosa Springs. Stay at the new EcoLux Hotel and enjoy 24-hour access to our 23 unique pools by the river. Indoors, relax in the hotel and enjoy therapeutic services at the spa. It's time for rejuvenation at the Springs Resort and Spa in Pagosa Springs.
You're watching Inside Durango News. I'm Ashley Dixon. Local fishermen say that bugs are dying in the Animas River, and with the die-off, trout populations are declining too. But finding the cause may be a much more difficult task, says local river advocates. Buck Skillen, an avid fly fisherman and officer with the Five Rivers chapter of Trout Unlimited, informed the La Plata County Commissioners earlier this month that the local Trout Unlimited chapter plans to conduct a bug count to determine if their numbers are declining. During the past few years, the local angling community has noticed a decline in macroinvertebrates, or bugs, in the river. Trout eat bugs, and when their food sources decline, so do fish populations. Trout Unlimited is using its own funds, along with contributions from the City of Durango and the Colorado Division of Parks and Wildlife, to hire Ecosphere Environmental Services to conduct the study. Ecosphere will conduct the bug count at 3 in-town sites along the Animas River. A count will be taken in the spring and again in the fall, Skillen reported. The state of the bug supply is an indicator of water quality in the Animas River. The Animas River drainage has been impacted by mining pollutants, most notably from mines in the Silverton area. In 1994, the Animas River Stakeholders Group was formed to advocate for attainability water quality standards and to support remediation efforts to stop pollutants from draining into the Animas. 2 previous bug studies have been conducted on the river, including one in the late 1990s and again about 10 years later. In the interim, the Animas River Stakeholders Group was able to push through a number of remediation projects to clean up mining drainages on the Animas. As a result, bug counts improved, and by 2005, 4 trout species could be found in the river, Skillen said.
So the Animas Stakeholder Group work up in the Silverton area to remediate some of the acid mine drainage and runoff that we're getting from waste piles, and that work was very significant and improved the water quality in the Animas and improved the bug life, the population of the macroinvertebrates in the Animas, both up in the canyon and down in the Durango area.
Since then, bug populations appear to be dropping off again. Skillen says a number of environmental factors may be contributing to the decline. Pollutants are on the rise in Cement Creek and Silverton. In addition, the Animas froze down to the riverbed 4 years ago, and during the past 2 years, low flows may also be affecting bug and trout populations.
And the anecdotal suggestions from my fishing friends in the area suggest that we have had a fall off in the bug life, the macroinvertebrate life in the Animas River. We'd like to document that.
Skillen said it's doubtful that the third bug study will determine the cause of bug and trout declines, but that it's important to document the number of bugs in the river nevertheless. The study will give the Animas River Stakeholders Group and government agencies additional data that ultimately could be used to compile more mitigation work in the Animas River drainage. If you've parked your car in front of the La Plata County Airport for more than the allotted time, there's a good chance you got away with nothing more than a slap on the wrist, if anything. That leniency may soon become a thing of the past. The La Plata County Board of Commissioners is on the path towards approving an ordinance that would allow certain airport staff members to issue parking tickets to those drivers who don't obey the posted signage. According to Kip Turner, Director of Aviation at the La Plata County Airport, the parking issue has been ongoing, and with the airport growing, it's becoming a hindrance to airport security and safety, as well as emergency response operations. There are a number of signs already in place in front of the airport that have been there for several years, but it hasn't stopped the occasional motorist from walking their party to the gate or lollygagging during arrivals. Turner says the airport has ordered additional signage to further stress that parking is not allowed in the designated zones. The new ordinance will allow airport staff to use the city's new handheld parking citation units and software to issue tickets to drivers who ignore the parking signs. Tickets will start at $15 and the fines double to $30 if not paid within 7 days. If you ignore your ticket for over 30 days, that $15 jumps to $60. The city has requested that airport parking tickets have the same fine structure as in-town tickets, so the same software can be used. Similar to tickets issued within the city limits, the individual cited will have the ability to contest the ticket in county court. The city's General Service Director, Roy Peterson, agrees with the protocol. Peterson oversees the city's parking citation, and a number of other stakeholders agree as well. But there are still a few logistical issues to be worked out, such as the development of the citation and training for the airport staff. The ordinance is scheduled to have its second publication on April 24th, and, if approved, will go into effect on May 24th of this year. In other airport news, Frontier Airlines will resume service at the La Plata County Airport on May 15th. According to Kip Turner, Frontier moved to seasonal operations instead of year-round service due to new ownership and changes within their system. Currently, the airline is scheduled to operate through December 31st, 2014. Frontier will offer one daily flight to Denver for most of their regularly scheduled season in Durango. From Denver, Frontier offers more than 75 flights to destinations including Mexico, Jamaica, and Costa Rica. Turner commented that the return of the airline is a welcomed addition. The passenger growth at La Plata County Airport continues filling the seats, so any additional seats offered in our market is a plus. After the break, explore the old Animas City Cemetery and find out why volunteers are researching the occupants.
At Durango Motor Company, we offer one low price, plain and simple, always.
Our sales consultants aren't paid on commission, so they can get you in the vehicle that fits your needs.
We want to provide our guests with an enjoyable car buying experience. Right now we have the new 2013 Ford F-150 crew cabs on our lot for $31,102 and the new 2013 hybrid Ford C-Max for $22,064.
No haggling, no games, just one low price.
We're Durango Motor Company, a new company with a new philosophy.
Welcome back to Inside Durango News. I'm Ashley Dixon. It's inaccessible, but it's one of the oldest repositories of Durango history. It's the Animas City Cemetery located just west of North College Drive. A major project is underway to document the graves and the pioneers buried there. Then stay tuned for an interview with a group of Durango women who've compiled a series of essays by local women for women everywhere.
The San Juan Mountains Association, in collaboration with the State Historical Fund and La Plata County Historical Society, has spent the last several years documenting the graves of the old Animas City Cemetery.
I head up the cultural program, and we have cultural projects that involve volunteers, and the Animas City Cemetery is one that is in need of volunteers to help record its history and also document the headstones and the history here.
So this is an example of the deteriorating condition of the cemetery. Just a few weeks ago I was in the cemetery and this stone was upright, leaning slightly, and then I came in just last week and found it had tipped over and cracked. There was no previous crack in it.
More recently, we've worked with the Friends of the Animas City Cemetery and done some stabilization on the enclosures, and this is an example of one. There's 6 in the cemetery, and these were some items that needed to be done to weatherize the enclosures over the winter and with the coming snows. The city has kindly worked around and trimmed back vegetation, which was a big issue, the overgrown vegetation, and how it would affect the iron enclosures, and some of them are cement enclosures as well.
One of the interesting things about this cemetery is how it is such a great reflection of the demographics of our early community. And it was a very ethnic community. This family here, the Halfling family, was from Switzerland. And George came over at a young age, at the age of 15, and settled in New York, and actually served in the military, served in the Civil War. He was a bugler for a time, and then headed west and married and had his family. And this is an entire family plot here. So one of the things that it does fascinate me about the cemetery is the way it represents our early community, both ethnically, socially, economically, in just all different walks of life. We do know there are quite a few veterans in this cemetery. And because we've got a veteran that's marked down here, and then a veteran there, and actually on the other side of that brush there's a veteran, and the orderliness of the rows, it's very possible that this was a veteran section. There are accounts in the historic newspapers in the 1880s that talk about coming to this cemetery and standing beside the graves of the veterans buried here and decorating their graves and honoring them. The veterans buried here are most likely all Civil War veterans. This is the grave of little Nelson Ackerman. This is a sad story, but somewhat typical of the beginnings of our community. In the very beginning, when Anima City was exploding and Durango was exploding, there wasn't always enough housing for the families moving in. So this family set up a tent home and actually shared it. 2 families shared this home. The husbands were freighters, and one night when they were out doing their freighting, somebody attempted to break into the tent of these 2 women and their children. And being frightened, one of the women picked up her rifle and raised it to shoot at the intruder, and actually it discharged and shot little Nelson.
It really represents the history of the founding of Anima City and also Durango. It predates Durango. It's the earliest cemetery here in now what is the Durango area. And we really do need to remember that history, and there are family descendants that are still living in the area. So we're trying to do that by honoring it and recording the history and also preserving it.
What a fascinating place. The oldest cemetery in La Plata County actually is located at Parrot City in La Plata Canyon, and the San Juan Mountain Association has plans to survey that site in a few years. Today we have Sally Zabriskie and Ava Montaigne in our studio. They're 2 of 5 editors and publishers who have compiled a series of essays and other writings by local women for women everywhere. The book is called Igniting Hearts, Inspiring Hope, and is available now at storiesofwomen.com. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today.
Honored to be here.
Thank you very much.
You.
So I'm really interested in how this all came about, because writing a book is a pretty daunting process. So how did this all start?
We actually, with 30 other Durango women, took the train to LA for a conference, a women's conference. And on the way back, we had plenty of time to chat, and we were all pumped up and wanted to put into practice what we had learned. And it was an entrepreneurial conference too. And so we decided somehow that writing a book and capturing the stories of women all over the place would be a great way to do that. And within our group, we have been able to practice what we learned at that conference.
Nice. And I know we were chatting, you said there's also a fair amount of authors that are right here in Durango who have contributed stories as well.
Probably close to a dozen, maybe 15. There's 43 stories culled from about 80 that we received when we put out a call for submissions.
Ooh, that's a tough task too. Sorting through those.
And the theme, both coming out of the that we all met and talked about, was that women function well with collaboration as opposed to competition. And we wanted to do something that was a collaborative business process, but also honored the idea that every woman has a story, every person has a story. And there's always something that can inspire someone else, but we tend to downplay our own value. So this was to really honor women's voices and give them an opportunity to share and express part of their journey.
So these stories, it sounds like they could be relatable for every woman at various different parts of your life. Is that the case that you found?
Definitely. I mean, we have all ages of women who contributed stories and have related different experiences that happen in women's lives throughout their adult lives. And I mean, children definitely are mentioned too. Some of it is current as their experience is happening now to them. Others are reflections from experiences that they had many years ago.
And you talk about just inspiring, and you know, sometimes women, we sell ourselves shorts for inspiring ourselves. I mean, talking to the authors, was this kind of a therapeutic process for them to share these stories?
Well, that was part of it, because that's partly how we heal. So yeah, some of the women, actually there is one particular story in there called The Voice. That's a woman who has this inner voice that keeps telling her, no, she can't succeed, she can't do this, she can't do that. And she ends with a note of, even the voice told me I couldn't write a story, but I'm going to do it anyway and send it.
I love it.
It's great. Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, especially for younger women too, these kind of lessons that you really can only learn from hearing other women who have been there. I think that's incredibly valuable. And so now I think the timing is pretty good with this, with Mother's Day right around the corner. I mean, this is a really good gift for mom.
Definitely.
So where is this book available? I mean, where can you get it, locally, online?
Yeah, both. In
Okay.
fact, Maria's will be having it for sale as of the end of the week. So, yeah.
We'll have it for sale at the launch on Thursday night,
Nice.
which is April 24th. And after that, both at Maria's and online at storiesofwomen.com, and also on Amazon. And it's available in print and ebook as well.
And I think one of the good things about your website too is you've got the list of all the authors who have links to their own websites, so it's fun. You can read the story and then go and kind of discover more of the person who told it to you, which I think is really valuable as well. Nice.
Definitely.
So very exciting, and I think, tell me a little bit about this cover photo, because whoever looks at it, you can tell it's a Durango photo. So where was this taken?
So this was taken at the Durango Mountain Park. I think it's Ned Overend Park now. And it was taken by a local photographer. We are having an art show in collaboration with our book launch. And that show will be up at Open Shutter Gallery until May 8th. And so the idea was to encapsulate the themes of the book, which are on the cover here: awakening, grace, forgiveness, trust, gratitude, acceptance, and love.
Very nice.
And so it would be fun for people maybe to see images of those themes.
The perfect Durango gift for Durango moms in particular, I'm thinking. So the website is storiesofwomen.com. If you want to get the book locally, you can also get it at Maria's Bookshop. So thanks so much for joining us, ladies. I appreciate it, and I might have to go get a copy for myself as well.
Thank you, Ashley.
Up next,
Thanks
we
very
have
much.
your weekly updates.
Where's the pump track?
Durango is in the running for a Bell-built grant to fund a pump track at Chapman Hill, and we need you to vote. Go to bellhelmets.com today and vote for Durango. Voting ends May 4th. This is the story of a company that has its roots in Southwest Colorado. A story about two college friends who founded a local business, of their families and the families of their staff, and of generations to come. It's about the concerns we hold, the passions we share, and the bonds that unite us. We are the Wells Group, and for 3 decades, we've been proud to be a part of the Southwest Colorado community.
Welcome back to Inside Durango News. I'm Ashley Dixon. Here are your weekly updates. The 2014 Wine Experience begins April 24th with several wine and beer tasting dinners and seminars on Friday, and the Walkabout Durango tasting begins at 4 p.m. in downtown Durango. And the festivities wrap up with the grand tasting from 3 to 6 p.m. at the First National Bank of Durango parking lot. Tickets are available online at durangowine.com. Central headquarters will be at the Strader Hotel throughout the weekend. The Durango Nature Studies Earth Day 5K and Family Fun Run will begin at 11 a.m. in front of For the Birds on the Animas River Trail. Music, beer, and pizza will be served after the race. Register at Brown Sports Shoe, Backcountry Experience, or DurangoNatureStudies.org. More than 130 exhibitors are expected for the 20th Annual Durango Home and Ranch Show, scheduled for Saturday and Sunday, April 26th and 27th. The show runs from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday and from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sunday at the La Plata County Fairgrounds. Log on to DurangoHRS.com for more information. That's it for this week's Community Updates. Community Calendar is brought to you by what'shappeningdurango.com. Post your free event today and join the one-stop, easy-to-use events calendar for Durango. I'm Ashley Dixon. Thanks for watching Inside Durango News, and remember, keep watching. You'll like what you see.
Tune in weekly to watch Inside Durango News, your source for information about what's going on in Southwest Colorado. Inside Durango News has been brought to you by Oxford Asset Management, inspiring confidence, growing dreams. Oxford Asset Management.